Hey guys, Cubehamster here with the tutorial for the elevator I released the other day, the fancy one, up, down, instant call, doors, and Dingdong Sound, everything you would want in an elevator. It's gonna be a fairly long tutorial, but if you have the dedication, like I spent a ridiculous amount of time on the tutorial. I honestly consider probably one of my best tutorials, or one of my, maybe not the, I don't know. Like I spent a lot of time on it. I'm pretty proud at how it turned out. But yeah, tutorial for the elevator. I'm gonna do it like in steps. As you can see, there's many steps that we'll go through. But before we start, I have to talk a bit about like Clerk Coding that we have on the elevator. Basically, there's like a couple things you should know. The bottom layer is kind of like unique-ish, and this determines on like where your floor is, which I coded here with red. Then the green and yellow segments are exactly the same, but you need a segment and then segments of 4, and then after X amount of segments, so this thing is expandable, you will end up at your wherever you want your top floor to be, which will be like a 5-block high thing. So here, similar setup, green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green, and then like the top segment. So that's important to know. Another thing, before you start spending a lot of time trying to build this tutorial, make sure that the elevator actually works. So that means download the map, try it on your computer, and see that. Make sure you don't get stuck, because that would be very unfortunate. Like I've never gotten stuck on this elevator in multiplayer, and neither in multiplayer and single player on Bucket Server. This has always worked for me, but it's good to check to make sure that that's also the case for you. That's the first disclaimer. Another disclaimer, like this elevator works. That means that if you try and if you follow the tutorial and you make a mistake somewhere, it is not going to work. If that's the case, it is not my fault. You made a mistake somewhere. I'm really sorry to say it, but that's something important to know, because in the past I've had people like complain, like some people, like not a lot, but like some people complain like, oh, it's not working. Well, like you messed up somewhere. I'm really sorry. That doesn't mean you can't find out where you messed up though. But like I said, we're going to go over like all the different steps in order to make this elevator come to life. It's like 17 steps, and you can always press pause in between the things and like scroll back. If I'm going too fast, press the pause button. That's why it's there. It's like it's a tutorial. You have to press pause. That's just how it is. So yeah, I think we should get started. Okay, so before we start, it's important that we figure out where how much space our elevator will take and where we will have our floors. Where we'll have the top floor and where we will have the bottom floor. So kind of to give you an idea of how much space this thing will actually take, I put down like a 4x12 area down here, and the like the ground floor, or where the elevator shaft will be, is here where the pistons are, and these two quartz blocks at the front represent where the doors will end up, and this is where the bottom input will be. Now the next question is, how high are you going to make your elevator? And I showed the sort of green and yellow interchanging color thing over there. And the idea is that, you can just go green, yellow until you reach where you want it to go. I'm going to go fairly low because this is just a tutorial. But yeah, so I go green, yellow. You could also go green, yellow, green. That doesn't really matter. And this is where the top segment will be. So we have like a unique circuit at the bottom, then a lot of repetition in the middle, and you can basically just keep going and make it expand it how high you want. And then there's, unique circuitry at the top as well. But mainly the one at the bottom is a bit complicated. And that's where we'll actually start the tutorial. You can already see it like laid out, and we're gonna add like circuits one at a time, and like I'll explain what they do. But yeah, this goes up, and then the top floor, like I already said, will be like so. So this is the door at the top floor, and then like if the elevator was like all the way up, this is where the elevator shaft, like how it will end up looking. So I hope that gives you a general idea of the size, and I hope you can determine like how high you want it to be. Okay, as for the first circuit we're going to do, so like I said, we're going to start at the bottom. What we want to do is we're going to start with the input mechanism from the button. You don't have to worry about that because the redstone is not going to be redirected into there. But yeah, the white circuit is just the basic input mechanism, and we'll take that over here. There's going to be a whole bunch of like stuff hooked up to this eventually. Then we place a 4-tick delay repeater and a comparator, which will lead into a orange block. And we're not going to make the orange circuit just yet, but that will be the it will basically be a latch. It will eventually it will store a signal, keeping the pistons for the elevator in place. But that's like later on. And then what we'll have is we'll do the brown circuit, which will have a hopper here. And this is kind of maybe a bit interesting, but in the hopper, basically the brown circuit is a sort of limiter circuit. It's a circuit intended to make sure that the signal coming from the input is not strong enough or is not too powerful so that we can't reset it later. And that might not make sense right now, but hopefully it will later. Basically, we want to put stuff in the hopper. I put in 3 diamond swords. I don't recommend you actually put in 3 diamond swords, but put in like 3 wooden shovels or something. Something that's not stackable. And that will give you the... basically, it will lower the signal coming from this comparator, and that's also important that we put this comparator on subtraction mode, which will display like the little red line there. And I can kind of show you what this does. This is just to make sure that the signal coming from here is, only a certain strength. So now it only goes like 6 blocks, which is fine. But if I don't put the limiter on there, we won't be able to reset the ledge later on. So yeah, that's the first circuit. Now that that's done, we can continue expanding this a bit. I'm going to lay the foundation for the orange circuit, which what I said was like a latch circuit. And the way a latch works is as soon as there's a signal that goes in there, it just stays in there until you reset it. And there's a whole bunch of different latches. And you could say that this one is sort of like an arsenal latch. Comparator here on subtract. It's not going to do anything right now though, but it's just a foundation for what we need later. And then on the side here, what we're going to do is we're going to place a gray circuit, and this will be for the door controls. So just a little circuit here, but we'll keep adding onto this. So let's actually make the door control circuits and actually do some other stuff as well. We're going to extend this circuit over here, and then we'll actually place the cyan colored circuit here as well. And at the moment this redstone is like overlapping with the redstone down there, which is something we don't want. So I'm going to block that off as a lapis, which will be part of another circuit later on. Then the cyan circuit is actually part of the Dingdong Sound, but we are eventually going to draw the signal from here. But let's actually continue. We're going to go here, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to place a dropper and a hopper, and this is kind of like a monostable circuit that will create a pulse, and that is the pulse we'll use in order to make the ding-dong sound. So this is also part of the cyan circuit, and the reason there's like a thingy over here circuit is because we want to lock it. We want to lock the hopper for just a little bit. So we put a 4-tick delay repeater here, and then we're going to go towards the like sticky pistons that are part of the door. And at the moment, like I guess you can leave these pistons here for now. That's fine. But yeah, this is going to go into a block, and that block is going to lead into a one-tick repeater. So that powers this piston, and then this one powers the other piston. So now, if we press the button, it should extend the pistons or the door just a little bit. It's not very functional right now, but it is at least hooked up. Oh, important thing, we have to make sure that I have no idea why there's so many swords in there. Probably because I copied the hopper from before. But we need to put like one item in here, like redstone dust would work. So yeah, I think that looks good. Yeah. So much for the door and the start of the Dingdong circuit. Okay, now it's time to introduce the red circuit, which will be the input for the instant call function. It's going to be just a little line that we take from the button, sort of, but it has another functionality as well, because it creates enough delay and it shortens the pulse that activates the door. So the green circuit is actually the signal that will travel up, and the signal traveling down the green circuit will reset all the RS NOR latches that are part of the orange circuit right here. And basically what that will do is that when the elevator is all the way up and you press the button, that will make all the pistons retract so you can hop on the elevator. So that's the first thing it does. The other thing it does, there's not a lot of delay down here, yet the doors don't come up straight away. And the reason for that is because we're using quite a long delay on the button. I think it's like 10 redstone ticks, quite long. But seeing as there's a comparator here that's set to subtract, the way it will work now is the signal will actually only be able to travel past it once the signal in this red line here has turned off. So as you'll see, when this signal turns off, then the signal can actually travel through the door, which is nice. So it's like double functionality, which is always a good thing. It's time we add a little ding-dong sound thingy to to this contraption. Remember the dropper we placed earlier? It's actually time to use it now. We're going to place a comparator here. We'll put it on subtract. I'll explain you why in a moment. And then we'll end up with 2 node blocks, one here and one here, and 4-tick delayed repeater. Now you want a little ding-dong sound, so what you want to do is you want to right-click the one on the left 11 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this one 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll end up with something that sounds like this. Now, the way this is set up right now, on the way up, it would actually play the ding-dong sound at the bottom floor, which is something we don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually draw a signal, and we're going to put this comparator on subtract. Put 2 delay repeaters here, then a block here, and another 2-tick delay repeater. And this is basically going to override the comparator to make sure that doesn't happen. Eventually it won't happen. Like right now it will still happen, but eventually this will make it so that there won't be any issues. I can't really explain how that works, but later on this will override the circuit. Okay, let's actually turn the latch, which is the orange circuit. Let's actually turn the latch into an actual latch. And the way we will do that is we will basically go up and have a comparator here. And we can already have one here. This is for later, but so we turn this into a latch now. And just to explain what I mean by that, well, if you have comparators or repeaters for that matter, in sort of like a loop, like this one, and you were to power them, and you were to remove the power, then it would remain powered. And what we can later on do is we could put this comparator on subtract, and then like remove the signal, so reset the latch. So it's kind of like it remembers that there was a signal, and I can then later on remove the signal. So that's the orange circuit extended, and what we're also going to do is we're actually going to hook this up to like an actual piston here, and it's important that we put a slab here because this will allow the signal to travel underneath and actually go to the like input mechanism. But this is basically the first piston that's going to extend like on the up circuit, and it's the last one that's going to retract on the way down. But yeah, what's kind of interesting now, once we press it now, it will actually not play the ding-dong sound because we're overriding it, which is very important. And it will probably play it now though, but as you can see that this piston is always in the extended state now. So this is now working as intended. So when this is the sort of the reset, it allows you to step on the elevator and then you like travel up. But we're not done down here though, but this is like an actual start. There's kind of like so much effort into like the bottom part of the elevator, and we haven't even started on like the actual piston mechanism yet. But we'll get there, don't worry about it. Now these next circuits are not going to be very useful right now, but they're going to be very important later on for the instant calling of the elevator. What we want to do is like this green circuit is actually going to travel up like all the way next to the elevator. And it's going to do multiple things. But before I talk about those, let's actually build the purple circuit as well. I mean, this elevator has to go both up and down, and the purple circuit is actually the down circuit. And seeing as we don't have a button up there yet, not very useful right now, but we are going to need it later on. On subtract, and this is going to use a principle I discovered a very long time ago. It's that if you like alternate slabs and normal blocks, you can like sort of make a downward spiral in a very compact space, and it turns out that it's very useful. I guess you don't even need a slab here. I'm going to put one here anyway though, just because it will look better, because we'll use slabs pretty much everywhere. And then we'll have a 3-tick delay repeater here. So it's going to be comparator 3-tick, so a total of 4 ticks. So 2 ticks per layer on the way down. So the downward speed is twice as slow as the upward speed, which is 1 tick per one redstone tick per layer. That's what I want to say. We have to block this off, by the way. But basically this will be a circuit that will be repeated all the way to the top, and this green circuit will also be a circuit that will eventually be repeated all the way to the top. But the functionality like this compared to the sort of original one is pretty much the same. It doesn't really do anything. Also, like this signal is traveling up right now, and I'm basically subtracting I'm inputting 15 in a comparator and subtracting 15 in a comparator, and that's basically going to cause the signal to not travel down at all, or like there's no signal going into the purple circuit right now. But again, there's reasons for that. It is time to finally actually do stuff that has to do with the elevator, which is the pistons that will push us upwards. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate. We're going to alternate pistons and sticky pistons all the way up, like so. Well, actually, not all the way up, but pretty far up. We're going to go all the way to until we reach like pistons up here. Then actually remove those, I guess. all the way up to the red circuit thingy. And we're gonna place blocks in between. Now I used like quartz blocks because I thought it looked cool, but that's entirely up to you. So it's actually, I don't know, I think this looks cool. So it doesn't have to be non-movable blocks, which is a good thing. And I guess, there we go. And yeah, looks pretty good to me. Now it's time for some repetition, because we're actually going to start working on the lapis circuit. I'm just going to do one of the sides right now. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to place this pattern that you see right now all the way to the top. And this little like gap in between is because I really like being able to see the redstone. But you're just going to place, you know, lapis blocks next to those, and then we'll go up. This is the final like thing we have to go to though. And then one tick delay repeaters, more one tick delay repeaters, 4 tick delay repeaters, and redstone dust. So that's the left side of the pistons, or the right side, depending on how you look, hooked up. Now for the other side, like most elevators that use this sort of setup, both sides are similar, but that's actually not the case on this design, in order to do with timings and stuff. I mean, the sort of block layout is the same, you could say, but the actual like timings here are a bit different. I'm just gonna make these first though, like so. I guess on the other side, did I have that? Yeah, I had that there as well. Okay. So this layout is the same, but then what you're going to get is you're going to get a 1 tick delay repeater and a 2 tick delay repeater. Oh, 2, 1, 2, and then a 1 tick delay repeater here, and then redstone dust. Now you can see that this is not currently hooked up to anything right now, but this will eventually be hooked up to some parts that are in the orange circuit, which is the next thing we are going to do. Actually, well, very important, this shouldn't be there, because we don't want this piston to extend when it gets pushed forward, because we've already reached like the top floor. So yeah, that's the other side. Okay, next up you're going to have to grab some comparators and some orange wool, because we're going to continue the orange circuit. And this is quite a condensed circuit, like really condensed. We're going to get this sort of weird structure going up, and it's actually going to go a bit higher than the actual, you know, lapis circuit. And what you can see here below hidden, we have a comparator, and what we're going to get here is we're going to get a whole bunch of comparators facing the same direction, like so. And then we will make a similar structure here, and this one will actually kind of hide the other comparators. And we'll go all the way up, and I guess like that, it's fine. I don't think this will do anything, but it might look better. Then on the way down, seeing as we have a comparator on subtract down there, we're going to repeat that pattern. So comparator subtract, and so on. Make sure that the red light is on. And then we're going to grab some redstone dust, and there's like a little dot here, and we're going to place these dots all the way up. And it's important that there's a lapis block here. That's to prevent any cross connections. And then we'll have dots going up on this side, all the way up there. And the cool thing about this is now we actually are getting to the point where we can test. We can do a one-time test to make sure that the elevator works. But before we can do that, we need to do two things. We need to place one tick repeaters here so that this redstone dust is actually also hooked up. That's not necessary. That's not hooked up to anything. And then another thing we need to do is we need to get some stained glass to make sure that we're not going to get let's go with light stained glass, to make sure that we're not going to get pushed off the elevator on the way up, seeing as this thing is so incredibly fast. I guess we can leave an air gap there. So once that's done, just so you can make sure that everything you have so far is working, hop on the elevator, press the button, and you can look down, and it should like make you go up extremely fast. Nothing you do now, though, will make the elevator go down, which is the next thing we are going to be working on. But this should work right now, hopefully. Now to work on the purple downward system, it's still not going to be hooked up, but we're going to place it down already because this circuit has a double function as well, where it's used as the down circuit, but at the same time it's also used as the instant call circuit. I guess if I were to really properly color this, like this block here should be green and purple because it's being used for like both purposes. I'll show you that a bit later. But what we're going to do is we're going to make the like a staircase, and then here it's like the other way around, so slab first and then two solid blocks. And then we'll get comparators that are on subtract. And on the other side we'll get repeaters that are set at 3 ticks. And 3 ticks. And then we're going to need a redstone dust. And on the other side redstone dust as well. And we have to make sure that there's a red block here to prevent the redstone from going up there. And this will be part of the instant call circuit at the top. So we're slowly working our way to the top right now. But again, redstone dust all the way down. And make sure that all the comparators are set to subtract. I think it looks good. So that's the purple circuit done. Okay, the circuit that we're going to add now is going to make this elevator 50% functional, which is the instant call function. And what we're going to get is we're going to get a torch tower, just torches on top of each other, almost all the way to the top, like so. And what we're going to get is, like I mentioned earlier, that whenever this activates, we want to make it activate in such a way where the signal will travel up towards this other comparator here, and that will reset the latch. But at the same time, what I don't want is I don't want the signal that goes to this block to actually travel down, which is the reason why there's redstone dust here, which will make it so that basically it will lock the comparator, preventing the signal from traveling down once there's a signal there. But yeah, how are we going to hook this up then? Well, you're going to get a whole bunch of green wool with redstone dust next to the comparators that are all set to subtract. And then you're going to get some torches that are like above powered ones, like there. And you're going to get slabs in the spots where there is no powered repeater going into a block, so we're basically tapping the power from there. And once that is done, you've basically hooked up the instant call feature, which means that if we go to the front of the elevator now and we place some blocks so that we can actually like hop on, we should be able to press the button, hop on the elevator and go up now. Extremely fast, and it's instant call, so this elevator does 50% of the things that it is supposed to do right now, which is pretty good. Now it's time to add the other 50% functionality, the down feature, because we're getting there. We're almost done. It's the input button. You can actually place a block on top. I'm gonna get some white wool because that's my input color. What we're gonna get like a little staircase. We're gonna get a repeater here, and then redstone dust going into a block, and we're gonna get a dropper here. This is gonna create a very short pulse. Then next up is important, you get, you know, diamond sword or something. Put the diamond sword in. Don't actually use a diamond sword, by the way. It's a bit of a waste, but then we need a comparator. So this is like a monostable circuit, just to create a very short pulse. Then coming from this redstone dust, which at the moment is a dot, but that we should actually turn into a line using a button. Like this is just to redirect the redstone. It doesn't make sense right now, but it will make sense later. And then we put 2 repeaters on maximum delay. And then we kind of go around the corner like so. And then I guess if we go down here and we get like a little platform, we can now stand on the elevator and it should go down. And we get a little ding dong at the bottom because that was already hooked up. And this is already instant call as well. So that's the up and down function. Now there's just a whole bunch of like little things we want to add. We want to add the doors. We want a little ding dong at the top, but we are almost done. We are almost done right now. So now, like I said, just the sort of finishing touches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the elevator go up. And then once we're here, we are going to actually, let's make it go down. Because I want to add the elevator doors. So this one has to go up, and we'll have another one here. And it's a fairly simple circuit, just around the corner and like powering both the pistons, and it's just kind of tapping the power from this repeater down here. And then we can like pretty this up a bit. And that's actually what we're going to be doing for a bit right now. Just, like that. Like so. And I guess this is like a lot of stuff that's kind of, you know, your own thing that you can do. I'm just going to do it like this though. Add sea lanterns here so that the glass looks better. And I don't know, I really like this sort of cobblestone wall thing going up along the sides. And then at the top we have glass as well. And then we have paints here on the side that kind of sort of hook up. I think that looks pretty good. So so now we need is the ding dong. Now there's just one more thing to do, and that's add the Dingdong Sound at the top. So let's quickly do that. It's just a small circuit. We're going to draw power from the latches up here, end up with a 4-tick repeater. Then a comparator that's set to subtract mode, because we're going to have to do the whole override thing again with the yellow circuit. 2 note blocks, repeater in between 4 ticks. First one is 11 clicks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the other one is 6 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the override, which is kind of simple this time. I just have to get rid of this block for a sec, and then place it back, and then we place dust there, and we don't want to actually make it hook up to the we don't want the redstone to hook up with the with the hopper, so let's actually use a button to redirect it. Oh, I don't think it's going to cause any issues, but it's not like you don't want that. That might mess something up. We don't want that to happen. So it's a button there that does absolutely nothing besides redirect the redstone. But yeah, this is pretty much it. So on the way down, and up, and up with me on it, and down without me, and down with me. So everything works. So I hope everything worked out for you. If it didn't, as you can see, there's like a whole bunch of layouts out there with all the different steps I went through in order to make this tutorial. And you can always, download this world, which I'll add to the description, and check where something went wrong. I really hope that everything worked out and you guys have an awesome elevator in your world, hopefully in survival. That'd be pretty cool. If you manage to get it to work, send me like, I don't know, a picture on Twitter or something so I can see, which is cool because this tutorial took me literally forever to make. If you want to support me making more redstone videos and tutorial, there's a link in the description and the cards on the side to my Patreon where you can support me and get like cool things in return. And yeah, like always, thanks for watching, and if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. See you guys. Bye bye.